Most people know what chia seeds are. Maybe you've blended them into a smoothie, sprinkled them over yogurt, or bought a bag with good intentions only to leave it untouched in the cupboard, but there's something very few people ever discuss. What happens when you make a habit of eating chia seeds at night for 2 weeks in a row? As simple as that sounds, the timing can make a surprising difference in how your body responds. And that difference becomes even more important as we get older. Welcome to the Weird Lab. Over the years, I've spent a lot of time studying nutrition and healthy aging, and one thing I've noticed repeatedly is that many people overlook simple habits that could make a meaningful impact on their health. Today, we're going to explore one of those habits. Here's an important fact to remember. Once you're past 50, your body doesn't operate exactly the way it did decades earlier. During sleep, your body enters a powerful recovery phase. This is the time when tissues are repaired, hormones are regulated, and many important maintenance processes take place behind the scenes. Research has shown that what you consume before bedtime can influence how effectively those overnight processes work. So what happens when chia seeds become part of that window? That's what we're about to uncover. And trust me, some of the changes people notice happen much sooner than expected. In fact, one of the first benefits often shows up the very next morning. Let's begin with a simple question. Why should timing matter at all? Many people assume that food works the same regardless of when it's eaten, but the body doesn't function that way, especially later in life. As the evening progresses, digestion naturally begins to slow down. Your body starts shifting resources away from processing meals and toward recovery, repair, and restoration. Even though you're asleep, your body remains remarkably active. This is where chia seeds become particularly interesting. When eaten during the day, they're processed alongside everything else you've consumed. Your digestive system is managing multiple foods at once. The nutrients in chia seeds still provide benefits, but they're sharing attention with an entire day's worth of digestion. At night, however, things are different. The digestive system is working more slowly and steadily. That creates a calmer environment where the fiber, minerals, and healthy fats found in chia seeds have more time to interact with your body. Think about trying to have an important conversation. It's much easier in a quiet room than in the middle of a crowded, noisy street. Your digestive system isn't very different. A calmer setting often allows for a more complete and efficient process. There's another important factor most people don't realize. Chia seeds have an incredible ability to absorb water. They can hold many times their weight in liquid. When soaked properly before consumption, they release that moisture gradually. Since you're not actively drinking water during sleep, this slow hydration effect may help support fluid balance overnight. If you've ever woken up feeling dry, sluggish, or slightly swollen, this becomes especially relevant. So nighttime chia seed consumption isn't just another health trend. It's about working alongside your body's natural nighttime rhythm rather than fighting against it. And when practiced consistently for 14 days, several noticeable changes can begin to occur. One of the first areas where people report improvements is sleep quality and relaxation. Now, let's be realistic. Chia seeds aren't a sleeping pill, and they won't magically cure serious sleep issues. But certain nutrients can support the body's natural ability to relax and prepare for rest. One of those nutrients is magnesium. Many adults over 50 don't get enough magnesium through their diet. The challenge is that magnesium deficiency doesn't always produce obvious symptoms. Instead, it quietly influences muscle function, nervous system balance, and overall relaxation. Chia seeds happen to contain a respectable amount of this important mineral. While a serving won't provide everything you need, it can contribute meaningfully to your daily intake, especially when consumed during the evening hours when your body is naturally preparing for sleep. But magnesium isn't the whole story. When soaked chia seeds form their characteristic gel, digestion slows down. This creates a more gradual release of energy and helps reduce sudden fluctuations in blood sugar levels. Think about those nights when you wake up unexpectedly. Maybe you're restless. Maybe you feel slightly hungry for no clear reason. Many people assume it's a sleep problem, but sometimes unstable blood sugar and digestive discomfort are contributing factors. Eating chia seeds before bed may help create a steadier overnight environment. Not because they force you to sleep, but because they reduce some of the internal disruptions that can interfere with restful sleep. Their combination of fiber and healthy omega-3 fats supports more stable energy levels throughout the night, and that can make a bigger difference than many people realize. There's another benefit that deserves attention. Late evening cravings are extremely common. Around 9 or 10 p.m., many people find themselves wandering into the kitchen looking for a snack, chips, crackers, sweets, or whatever happens to be available. Because chia seeds absorb so much liquid and digest slowly, they help create a lasting feeling of satisfaction. It's not the uncomfortable fullness that comes from overeating. Instead, it's a calm sense of contentment that can make it easier to stop snacking and head to bed. Now let's move to the benefit that many older adults find most noticeable. We're going to talk about digestion. More specifically, we're going to talk about something people often avoid discussing openly: regular morning bowel movements. If you're over 50, there's a good chance you've experienced changes in digestive regularity. You're certainly not alone. In fact, it's one of the most common health concerns among older adults. This is where chia seeds can be remarkably helpful. Just 2 tablespoons provide an impressive amount of dietary fiber. Much of that fiber is soluble fiber, which absorbs water and forms a soft gel as it moves through the digestive tract. That gel performs several useful functions. It helps soften stool, adds gentle bulk, and supports smoother movement through the intestines. The result is often a more comfortable and natural digestive experience. Timing plays an important role here as well. When you eat properly soaked chia seeds before bed, they have the entire night to begin working. During those 6 to 8 hours, the fiber absorbs water and gradually moves through your digestive system while your body is in its slower overnight state. By morning, that process has already been underway for hours. This is one reason many people report noticing improvements surprisingly quickly. Often, the first sign that something is changing isn't a dramatic transformation. It's simply waking up and realizing that their morning routine feels easier, smoother, and more predictable than it has in a long time. And for many adults over 50, that small change alone can make a significant difference in how they feel for the rest of the day. And I want to be completely upfront with you. This isn't only about feeling more comfortable, although comfort alone is incredibly important. Digestive health affects far more than most people realize. Persistent constipation in older adults has been associated with increased strain during bowel movements, disruptions in the balance of gut bacteria, and even changes in mood, energy, and overall well-being. So when we discuss improving your morning digestive routine, we're really talking about supporting your entire day from the moment you wake up. If you've watched this far, you already understand something important. Major health improvements often come from small habits repeated consistently. That's exactly the principle we're exploring here. But there's another benefit hiding beneath the surface. Inside your digestive system lives an enormous ecosystem of microorganisms known as the gut microbiome. These trillions of bacteria play a critical role in digestion, immunity, metabolism, and overall health. To thrive, they need the right fuel. One of their favorite fuel sources is soluble fiber. The prebiotic fiber found in chia seeds serves as nourishment for beneficial gut bacteria. When these bacteria ferment that fiber, they produce compounds that help support a healthier digestive environment. Think about it for a moment. How often do you intentionally eat foods specifically designed to support the good bacteria living in your gut? For most people, the answer is probably not as often as it should be. Nutrition researchers have repeatedly found that diets rich in fiber are among the most effective long-term strategies for maintaining a healthy digestive system. More importantly, the benefits build over time. The longer you consistently provide your microbiome with quality fiber, the more support those beneficial bacteria receive. Now, 14 days of eating chia seeds before bed isn't a miracle cure, but it does send a consistent message to your digestive system. It creates a more supportive environment and encourages smoother, more efficient function. For many people, those improvements begin appearing surprisingly quickly. Now let's move on to another issue that catches many adults off guard: evening cravings and unstable blood sugar. I see this pattern all the time. Someone eats fairly well throughout the day. They aren't constantly snacking, they make reasonable food choices. Then suddenly, sometime around 9 p.m., an intense craving appears. Maybe it's something sweet, maybe it's something salty, maybe it's whatever happens to be easiest to grab. The next morning, they wake up feeling sluggish, bloated, and frustrated with themselves. Most people blame their lack of discipline. But in many cases, the real problem isn't willpower at all. It's blood sugar. Here's what often happens. As evening approaches, blood sugar levels can begin to decline, especially if dinner was light or if several hours have passed since the last meal. When that drop occurs, the brain responds by increasing hunger signals. Your body isn't necessarily asking for nutrition. It's reacting to fluctuations in glucose and trying to restore balance as quickly as possible. That's when cravings show up. And unfortunately, those cravings usually target highly processed foods that provide fast energy but create even greater instability later. This is where chia seeds can offer a practical advantage. The soluble fiber inside chia seeds slows the movement of glucose into the bloodstream. Instead of creating rapid rises and falls, digestion becomes more gradual and controlled. As a result, blood sugar levels tend to remain steadier for longer periods. Research has shown that high-fiber foods can play a valuable role in supporting blood sugar management, particularly in adults over 50, whose insulin sensitivity often changes with age. Now let's look at what this means in real life. If you consume soaked chia seeds roughly half an hour before bed, the fiber continues digesting slowly throughout the evening and overnight. That steady digestion sends lasting fullness signals to the brain. Your stomach remains gently satisfied rather than suddenly empty. Because of that, the dramatic hunger swings that often trigger nighttime snacking become much less intense. Imagine how different your mornings could feel if your eating naturally stopped earlier the night before. Not because you forced yourself to resist temptation, but because you genuinely weren't hungry. That's one of the biggest advantages of stable blood sugar. It doesn't feel dramatic. It feels calm. The right choices become easier because your body isn't constantly pushing you toward the wrong ones. There's another benefit people often notice. When glucose levels remain more stable overnight, many individuals wake up feeling mentally clearer. They don't necessarily feel energized like they've had extra caffeine. Instead, they feel more refreshed, focused, and less weighed down. That groggy, sluggish feeling that sometimes follows a night of blood sugar swings often becomes less noticeable. Many people begin observing this change somewhere between the fourth and seventh day of consistency. By the end of 2 weeks, that improved baseline often starts to feel normal. And that's revealing because it suggests how much those hidden fluctuations may have been affecting you before. Now let's discuss something that makes chia seeds truly unique. Most people think of them as a fiber food. Some think of them as a source of healthy fats. But very few people realize they can also function as a surprisingly effective hydration tool. Not in the same way as drinking a glass of water, but in a way that's especially useful during the overnight hours when you're sleeping for 6 to 8 hours without taking a single sip. Here's why. Chia seeds can absorb an extraordinary amount of liquid. When soaked properly, each seed develops a gel-like coating that traps water inside its structure. That gel acts like a slow-release reservoir. Instead of delivering hydration all at once, it allows your body to access that stored fluid gradually over time. Think about what that means during sleep. While your body is busy repairing tissues, regulating hormones, and carrying out countless maintenance tasks, it has access to a steady source of moisture that most people never think to provide. This becomes increasingly important with age.